Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you. And I want to introduce everyone to Jamie Sanford-Morgan. Jamie, thank you for coming in. Get closer to it. Would you like a glass of red wine?
Better not, Jeremy. Thank you very much. I've got to do a bit of driving today, so
okay.
Best stay on the right side of the law.
I don't have to do that. Well, welcome.
Well, and thank you for welcoming to your lovely studio. I've seen a couple of studios, but I've never seen one as grand as this.
Well, it's different.
It's lovely.
It's different. It's a dining room. You know, it's a dining room that serves wine. We could turn it into a restaurant, I suppose.
Wine, and you have the Tim Tams strategically placed.
Yes. Temptingly placed there. Now, I wanted to talk to you about the All British Day, which is I've had the pleasure, the honour of being involved in that for a while.
And thank you, Jeremy, for lending us your personality and support. You know?
Yep. And I just love going and looking at the cars. Tony came up, I think, was last year, wasn't it? And the year before, and the year before. Yeah. It's amazing to see these beautiful cars that have not been neglected. They have been acquired and probably restored and treasured. And I so miss your dad.
As do I. I suppose I'm a sad, tragic, sentimental history buff, which doesn't bode well for throwing much out. But enjoying these cars, and so I suppose the pragmatic person might say, well, you could put $20,000 in the bank and get 5% on it, but you could buy yourself a motor car and have a bit of fun with that, and sell it and make some money. So part of what we do is that so for the people who just see them just as a pure investment, saying everyone's a custodian of artefacts and tangible things. So as there's no more Morris showrooms or Triumph showrooms,
no more Morris and no more Triumph,
sadly, and many other cars which have faded in the history books. So there's no salesman promoting these cars and making them wait to the next generation to take them on. So the whole idea, or one of the ideas of All British Day, is that we're the PR department for these famous marques which are no longer in the public eye. So if a young person comes on saying, look at this, a Wolseley, probably a lot of Gen Z, Gen Y would say,
what's a Wolseley?
What's a Wolseley? So we say, that's what it is. So hopefully they can go from one generation to the next. So that's one part of what we do.
Well, the wonderful thing about your dad was that he so understood, as an engineer, he so understood these old cars. There was nothing he could not fix. And if he couldn't get a part, he was so professional he could actually make the part. In fact, I think I saw a couple of cars at his place in the workshop that he was building from the ground up, a couple of old Bentleys. You know, the really old classic ones with the huge headlights and the long nose. Just lovely.
Yes, he did have a strong engineering flair, but also an artistic flair. And also he was a man of great intellect. And
style too.
And style and taste. Yeah. So you got the point where it became more than a car and a customer. It became a relationship and an identity.
Yes.
So it wasn't just a car.
No.
The colours would complement each other, the headlights, the radiators. So that the car, he got to the point where the car was almost talking to you.
And whether it was a Morris Minor or a Rolls-Royce, he gave it the same loving attention. I remember, speaking of Rolls-Royce, I asked him once what he thought of the new BMW Rolls-Royce. And he said, no, don't really like that very much. It has all the charm of a German troop carrier without any of the practicality. And it just sums it up.
I think he was taken aback that the new Rolls-Royce was recycling some of the older names. Yeah. So he was quite passionate about the early Silver Ghosts and Phantoms. And people say,
he had a Silver Ghost, didn't he?
I suppose, he had quite a few Ghosts.
They're worth millions now, millions.
I've got a receipt for one that he bought at Port Kenny in 1955 for £10.
£10.
It's £10. As a fisherman was using it to drag his boat out of the water.
Well, there's gold in them there hills.
There is indeed. So, as a side story, once my father sat down thought we'd find a fairly silly way of passing the afternoon, so we came into collective nouns. Mm-hmm. So I thought, let's, like you have a mob of kangaroos. And so I thought, say if we just stuck to Rolls-Royces. So start off, you have a haunt of ghosts.
Haunt of ghosts, yeah.
You have a distillation of spirits. An overcast of shadows.
Yeah.
And the more it got on, the more wine we got, the sillier it got. But he did have quite a haunt of ghosts.
Yes. They're all gone, I guess. Didn't you keep one?
No, we didn't. There's the last one my father sold because unfortunately he said the UK, America, without the exchange rates and their financial cars just bring so much more. A lot of the cars that he restored at VM Engineering went back to Europe. His 1914 car that went back to UK and then went to Florida, and the last Ghost he had, I think that went back to England, and some chap was going to drive it on a rally through South Africa, which father applauded. He said they're there to be used.
Did you ever see the yellow Rolls-Royce?
I did.
A great movie, wasn't it? Was it Rex Harrison? Someone maybe there. Rex Harrison rings a bell.
Yeah, I think you're right. But my father was in the film The Light Horseman.
Oh, was he?
He was, yes.
I didn't know that.
He was. No, so they filmed that up at Hawker. So it was.
But he was a naval man.
He was, but they wanted the car up there, and I suppose being a man in the television media production thing, it's probably not an eye opener for you, but it was an eye opener for me as to how much time goes by and very little happens.
Yes.
They did all the setting up, so they wanted a scene of a veteran Rolls-Royce driving along with all the generals in it. So father got dressed up with a pith helmet and was dressed up as sapper, and there he was driving along on the roads of Hawker. Yeah,
I always thought he was so stylish he should have a Batman. Somebody who trailed along and looked after him.
Now, is it when he grew up in Sydney with his mother? That they grew up at is it Drummoyne Point? Is that correct?
Don't know. I can't remember.
A fairly well-to-do area of Sydney, and being a doctor, and he was.
Sounds more like Darling Point.
No, there was another name for it. I'll think of it. Not far from Darling Point, but it was a very nice part of Sydney. Yeah. They had gardens and they had and those sorts of stuff. So he grew up with that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I gathered that. But he never worried about getting his hands dirty. He would do things. He had a good team of people. I don't know where they are now, but.
I still see them around. I've had some work done by some of them, so they're still around. And it's quite nice that one of the chaps named his business Vintage Motor Engineering.
VM.
And another suffix of it, and he does a lot of trimming work. So he did a lot.
Oh, yes, he was a very good trimmer. He did My Little Morris Minor, I remember that. Now, when we get to the All British Day, was that set up by your dad?
No, the All British Day was set up in the early 80s. It was like a lot of things. They start off by a few enthusiasts saying, let's go for a bit of run. Yeah? So one enthusiast rings another enthusiast, so you get half a dozen cars. They go back and tell their friends, well, that wasn't a bad idea. Let's do it again. So it grew and grew and grew. So it started off with about 20 cars. I went to one of the first ones down at St Clair at Woodville. Then more club people want to get involved because there's lots of show and shines where you have American cars, French cars, Italian cars, but we wanted to scope it down a bit and have something that just identified British cars and give them that mouthpiece that I referred to earlier.
Yeah.
So All British Day was born just to focus on the British vehicle. So it then got moved to Mount Barker and then Uradler and now Echunga. So now in the last 10 years, I suppose, we've averaged about 800 vehicles each year.
You've got lots of space there. And how many vehicles this year?
About 820.
820. And it's a special year, isn't it? It's
40 years.
40 years.
Of of celebrating all things that are British. So, at the risk of sounding Churchillian, we intend to have a tiger moth flying over.
Oh, excellent!
So we'll have the sky covered. We'll have the land covered with British cars, trucks, motorbikes, and tractors. Yep. And we're getting some enthusiasts to bring some British powered boats. So it'll be land, sea, and sky. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it not the 100th anniversary? Is it MG or Jaguar?
No. We're co-celebrating MG. We're celebrating all things British about MG.
Yes. Not the new ones. What happens if somebody comes along with a new battery-driven MG and says, "Can I enter?"
That gate can be awfully hard to open at
times.
Oh,
my God, yes, I know.
No, we have on our eligibility of what we donate as a British car. That they might be wonderful cars, all the post-2005 cars, but we're saying we want the snapshot that's British.
Yes,
because that's what we're about. That's our ethos.
Yes.
So from 1924 to 2005, I think, is when they were all designed and built in England. So,
what's Marcus Levinson got? He's got a Y type, or
he's got a Y type Tourer, I understand. I don't think I've seen it. I've seen Marcus appear a few times in his Morgan, but I think this year, Rosalie's going to bring the Morgan. I think Marcus is going to bring the Y type.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. What does it mean, though, when you look out there over 820 cars? Put a figure on it. What would they all be worth? Because you've got Rolls and Bentley and Daimler and Jaguar, Morgans, and
we also touched on earlier. Touched on Morris Minors, and I can remember when you could pick up a Morris Minor for $300.
Yes, I can too. I've done it,
and you can't do that. Even scruffy Morris Minors are going for $3,000-4,000.
Yes.
So I think to get to $10 million. Probably wouldn't be overstretching it. I would have thought. Yeah, well,
no,
you get.
I think that's conservative when you look at the not only the number of the cars, all the makes that you can't go and buy anymore, but you look at the condition they're in.
There's a lot of restoration tragics there, myself included. You just want to preserve that history and have that car as it was when it was new. Yeah.
What do you drive?
They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, you got a Rolls?
No, I have. That's on the wish list.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm restoring a 1927 Bean.
Oh yes, your dad loved that. I remember seeing one quite often at his place.
He had a pot of beans, so it was given to my brother and I when we were 6 years old as a play car. Because it was a rundown farm hack. So
did I offer you a glass of wine, by the way?
You did,
but you're not having. That's right. It's okay.
Unfortunately, I've got to be on the wrong side of a steering wheel. So we had this car as a play car, and it was in a very sad, dilapidated condition. But I'm now sort of turning into exactly the same car that my father's did.
What colour is it?
Well, it hasn't been painted yet. It's still undergoing the restoration progress.
What colour will it be?
Blue.
Blue, dark blue.
Dark blue. I love that like squadron sort of blue. A bit like the Australian flags behind you there, Jeremy.
Yes, this is left over from last week. We dressed the place up for Australia Day.
No, so I think a blue with probably black guards. I think
yes, that's a good combination.
Is a good combination, I think.
Yeah. How's your mum? Is she still around?
Yes, no. Janetta is fit and active and speaks fondly about you.
Oh, well, give her my love.
I shall indeed.
I haven't seen her for years.
She's a very busy woman. I still have to go to work for a living, and I think, gee, I've done. How good am I? I've done this and this. Then I speak to Jeanette, and she rattles off what she's done in the day, and I'm embarrassed to say the least.
Now, to be, I don't know if you probably wouldn't still be taking entries for the All British Day. That's all sealed.
That is. As we're volunteers and we do things on a part-time basis, we open our website for registrations at the end of September and we close them in early November.
Yeah.
So then we have to get our documentation printed. So if there's any listeners out there who would like to enter All British Day, sort of end of September, keep an eye on our website, and we do it all again. Yeah.
And what about going up? Anyone can come, spectators?
Yes, absolutely. So from 10:30, said spectators can enter the grounds. It's $10 for a child, $10 for an adult, $5 for a child, and a family ticket for 2 adults and more children can enter the day. We have.
What's the family pass cost?
$25.
$25. That's cheap. That's good.
And
it's a whole day of fun because the kids love. I've seen the kids going over, and you can get really close to a car that you would only ever, in other circumstances, see in a picture.
We can't understand it, but we do have distractions there in case people get sick of motor cars.
I don't think so.
I didn't say that I understood.
What do you call a distraction?
We've got for the kids. We've got entertainment for them.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that we're trying to attract younger people to the day. To provide the next generation of...
it shouldn't be too hard.
No, it isn't. We get about 4,000 to 5,000 people there on the day. So sometimes you get people criticising, what do you want to drive that old British car? Who's interested in those?
Lots of people.
Very well said, Jeremy. I could say, well, I know about 5,000 people that come in a day to have a look at them, so I can't be the only one in the world, you know?
No, I think it's a great day, and I just hope we get good weather.
Yes, well, that's the...
It always worries me.
That's the concern of the outdoor. We've advanced by 2 weeks. We used to be mid-February, so we've now gone to Sunday the 3rd of March to help us. Are we against the clock, are we?
Oh, Caroline's just holding up the clock. Yes, just put the clock back. You can do that. Look, that's the nice thing about doing a radio program on a radio station from the dining room table. You can do anything you want.
Absolutely, and so you should be able to. I think there's too many rules and regulations, so I think this whole thing, do it when you feel like it, I think is I applaud it. Yeah,
yeah, well, look, the Wild West, I mean, this is sort of radio the way it began until it became, I guess, what's the word, Tony? Regulated? Combobulated?
Yes, well, you hear on radio now, I get the feeling when they... certain programs are broadcast, and I hear announcers say that they have to issue disclaimers and share interests and things. And it just becomes so legalistic. You know?
Yeah, well, look, it was ruled by common sense, by intelligent people for a long time, and then I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of took it off the rails, but something did. But anyway, this is a sort of a new beginning of a different era of the same thing.
And I applaud the informality of this. Is it
totally informal? Absolutely, no rules, no regulations. It's just
and I suppose it speaks to the heart of probably what radio originally was.
It was, yes.
It's a few people sharing ideas. That's not a scripted.
No. Not scripted or prescripted. It was just a bit of fun or a hobby, I guess, for a lot of people for quite some years before it became a business.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Caroline.
Yeah, there's a picture of what a radio station. Jamie, have a look at that. That's what radio looked like 100 years ago. I wish you could see it, but we don't have the ability to send pictures to you. But it's a great big horn sort of loudspeaker.
Well, it says here under the photograph, Ernest Hume Jr. in 1924, early 5DN radio equipment with the first location in the Hume family home at
Green Hill Road,
Parkside.
Yes. It's today where the Western Mining Building used to be. I don't exactly know what's there now, but it was certainly a very big, grand home. He made all his money out of making cement pipes, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Very lucrative, very good at it, obviously. But father of broadcasting or commercial broadcasting in Australia.
I was talking to Caroline before we came on here. I said, I welcome this is nothing to do with All British Day, but as far as radio stations and communication now goes, I think you once wisely said, that unfortunately now with the internet, everyone is now an editor. With a radio station, I know that you'd probably prudently check your facts and make sure that what you said was get correct and legitimate.
Well, you got to, because if you don't do that, there'll be somebody who has.
Yeah, but now I suppose anyone can get on a public forum,
yes,
and type away, and they type what they like when they like, and it's
like Twitter or X. You can put out any amount of garbage that you like, and because it's on a screen, I guess people give it some sort of credibility, which it probably doesn't deserve.
Yeah. No, I said I haven't got any of that, and I tend to keep it that way.
God bless you.
Is it? And I've resisted all attempts for people to get me into Wastebook. Yeah. Yes,
Well, you'll have to, if you do get on Facebook. We've got a posting there, which is Jeremy Cordeaux's Court of Public Opinion, where we do a what I don't know what you'd call it, a posting.
You don't need to be a member, though, to view it.
You've got to be a member? You don't need to be a member. No, you just need to view it. And it's from the garage, and it's, you can almost smell the oil.
Oh, there's I must admit, I do guiltily sometimes look at stuff, and as you said, you can see, you can have access to some of the articles without being signed up to it. But to watch videos of toenails about to be cut, toenails during cutting, then toenails cut.
I'm surprised there's an audience for that.
Well, the sad thing is there must be, because some banana's done it.
Well, when you're dealing with 8 billion people, I suppose, all with a screen in front of him or her, well, who was it? Was it W.C. Fields who said there's one born every minute?
Yeah, well, given the current population, we might have to reduce that, every 30 seconds.
Yes, that's right. An underestimation. Great to see you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Good luck with when is it? What's the date?
3rd of March, Sunday the 3rd of March. So spectators can arrive from 10:30. That's when all the cars stop moving, so that's when it's safe for spectators to get around. And then normally we then go to about 3 o'clock.
Well, logistically, I tip my hat to you, because getting everybody there, because there are sections for Jaguars, sections for Rolls, sections for Bentleys, sections for MGs. It must be a nightmare to try and...
It is. Being a static day, we've got the problem of trying to keep it dynamic. And one of the things we can do is that we move people around. But we've timed it. We park 800 cars in 1.5 hours.
Wow.
And we go into millimetre accuracy. So it's not just a show and shine where everyone just rolls up. That would be quite easy. Yeah. But as you said, we like to make life hard for ourselves and put everyone. So again, if you look at some cars like Singers, a nice little car, but there's not a lot of them around it. So if you had one in the sporting car club and one in another club, another in a club, they're dotted around the place. But we try to put them all together to give them a presence. Well,
you certainly do. It's a great day. I heartily recommend it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much, Jeremy, for giving me this opportunity this morning. And
thank you, Jamie.
And your support.
Good to see you.
As our patron.
Yep, and I'll see you. Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.